Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to be reviewing season 5 part 3 of the Potomac reunion. I'm so tired. Like, holiday season, it was great. I had so much fun, but I am really exhausted. So I'm happy, I'm healthy, I'm blessed. So what more can you ask for? Okay, so we pick up with part 3 with Candace walking out when she was having her breakdown, when they were discussing the altercation. She's in the back getting her makeup touched up and everything, and her husband's there with her, and he is extremely supportive of everything that's going on. He's saying just the right things to make her smile, make her happy despite everything that's going on. So he did a great job getting her out of that funk, I guess you could say, and into, you know, the reality of what's going on. Like, hey, this is going on. We can't let this person, this outside person, control our emotions. So you've got a job to do. Don't let her stop you from it. Get it done. After you get this done, the faster you can leave and take your break before they start refilming. So we go back to Monique, and Andy's discussing with her about her lack of remorse, and basically she's still blaming her childhood for her actions, which I do believe that people's childhood does have an impact on how they are in adults. I definitely believe that, 100%. But it just seems like she's relying on that, and like, what else can you give me? Like, how has this situation helped you grow? So Candace returns and she sits down, and Andy says, you know, it took you a while to press charges. What ultimately led you to press those charges? And she basically said that it's because of the lack of remorse and all the things that she said on social media, which kind of makes sense because she was going around apologizing to other people for how she acted, but also in the same breath saying that she was not sorry for the actual altercation that took place. And then, you know, she's on social media saying, asking you shall receive and all these different things. So I get that part. I just really feel like she should really say, like, hey, it's such a difficult situation. It's so weird because Candace knows. We'll get to that. So Andy asks Monique why she was not as upset with Karen. Andy asks Monique why she is not as upset with Karen over her opinion to press charges, you know, at the drop of a hat. And Monique says that they are friends and that she respects Karen's opinion, which I feel like is kind of BS because at this point, besides Karen and Ashley, who else can you really depend on? I feel like she and Ashley. I feel like their relationship is dependent upon what they can do for each other. I honestly believe that, you know, Ashley is so much of a friend to Monique because of how she handled the situation with Michael last season. Her relationship with Karen is good because I think Karen just wants to be around other people that she thinks are extremely successful. And Karen and Ashley are the only ones that are supporting her in this moment. So there's no reason to start a fallout with Karen because Karen, I mean, how much of a percentage of, let's see, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 2 out of 6. You only got 33% of the cast supporting you at this point. So, you know, we can't drop that down to 16% because why are you even here at that point? So she really doesn't have a leg to stand on. She has to take whatever Karen gives her, and same way she did with that launch party. Karen rushed her out of there, and she's just, I wasn't expecting to be rushed out like that, but you're not gonna say anything about it because you want to film. Monique basically admits her wrongdoing, but she's basically saying because the situation was legal, and because there ended up being a lawsuit placed, and files charged against her. It's kind of, you have to tiptoe around the situation. It's not like you can go apologize tomorrow, because that would immediately make you guilty, and they could use that in the court of law against you, as far as I understand. But I mean, I'm no lawyer, so I don't know. Monique then says that her husband hired the best defense attorney in DC, and of course Andy says Bill Barr. And she's just looking like, that was kind of funny, but Andy was still very biased in this episode. I love Candace, I love Monique, but you're holding one accountable and not the other as much, and I feel like this should have been a 50-50 thing. The other weird thing is Candace kept calling Monique's lawyer a quack, and then Andy says that she got bad advice from her lawyer, which, I mean, how is it that she's got bad advice when both charges were dropped? Meaning her lawyer did their job, and nobody's going to jail, nobody's having to pay any money, or nobody's being sued at least. So I feel like, what are you guys talking about? If she would have apologized, I'm sure Candace would have taken that to court and been like, oh, well, she apologized on camera. So Andy then asks Ashley about when she wrote a statement to help Monique with her case. And she says that it was easy to do because they are such good friends. And the thing about her is that she says that Monique is her friend, but anytime she's asked about why she decided to go down this road, she always references the issue with Michael last year with the groping incident and him almost facing jail time. So yes, she says she knows what it feels like to be under pressure because the law is involved, and that you or your spouse could be facing jail time. And I get that, but you are making this more about her loyalty to you in previous seasons, more so than just saying, you know what, that's my friend and I'm going to help her. She keeps bringing it up. She was such a good friend to me last season when Michael was going through. I see right through this. Ashley's trying to play chess, and it's not working out. She even made it even more damaging because she said when they were in Portugal that now they are even, in that she wrote the statement, and this is getting back at Candace for, she never said revenge, she said now we're even. So I already know that this is a loyalty thing, and this is a situation where she still has not gotten over what happened between the two of them, Candace and Ashley, that is. And this is why that statement was written. You're not fooling anybody, sweetheart. So then Andy is talking to Monique more about the situation, and she goes into this tearful explanation of how her father used to put his hand in her face, and she says that her dad used to put his hand in her face and there was nothing she can do about it. I totally understand that. I mean, not saying my dad did that, but I mean, your parent doing something to you, there's not a whole lot you can do about it. But yes, she couldn't do anything about it, and I guess maybe she had some anger issues or something of that nature because of that. And it's putting her hand in her face like this was a trigger of her dad putting his hand in her face, and that's what caused the whole thing to become physical. It took it to a different level, which, I mean, there were things that my parents did, that all parents did to their children, that the kids couldn't do anything about. So are you gonna go around putting your hands on people because, let me stop. So she did all that to say that she apologizes for her part in her actions that led to the physical altercation, including initiating, the dragging, which I didn't feel like was insincere. I believe that she was sorry for her part. And I feel like it was a fair apology because Candace also needed to apologize for her part in this situation. So I think it was a fair apology. Not saying that they should be buddy-buddy friends again, but she at least apologized. And the way she's been fighting against this apology this entire time, I can appreciate this. Because she didn't have to say anything. She could have just said, forget it. You ain't get no apology from me. Candace, of course, says that she appreciates that Monique apologized. However, based on her recent actions and how she was on social media, it is hard for her to believe that it is a genuine apology because she had been saying so many things, even recently. And also, she has the song that was released, and of course she recites lyrics, and Monique says, you know, this was a therapy thing, this was for me. And she says, I could not write a letter to Candace at the time. It's not something that I could do, but to feel better, I could write a song because that's what I do. Cool, girl, I get that. But why release it before? I mean, I don't know. I feel like even if she released it after she had apologized, it still would be not a good look because of some of the things she said. I've never listened to the song personally. I just don't like that she's trying to make money off of this. I mean, I'm not doing anything. I'm not supporting Candace's song either, although I like Candace's song, but I haven't streamed it or anything. What I've heard on the show is all that I've heard of it. I'm not going out of my way to support either one of them because both of them are wrong. But Candace did have a point with some of the verbiage she used in the song. How can she believe that this is a genuine apology? Candace then says that she takes responsibility for her actions in that moment before the altercation happened. She does state that alcohol was involved. They were in close quarters, which is all part of my point in this. Of course it went out of hand. They're in close quarters. They have high emotions at the moment. They're all intoxicated. Like, how could you not expect something to happen of this magnitude? And she says that in earlier episodes, whereas she would have normally in third and fourth season, Candace would have taken part of, or taken the bait, I guess you can say, with Monique trying to start an argument, she walked away, which is growth on her part. I do agree with what she said with that. But, you know, it had just come to a head. And, you know, Monique just kept bringing things up, although it wasn't Monique this time. It was Giselle. It was kind of all of the ladies. They all said something like, oh, so you're okay now? Oh, this is this? Are you good? Have you guys come to a conclusion? So it was all the ladies. It was a lot of external forces that led up to bringing up the issue or the elephant in the room. So I don't think you can blame Monique for initiating the conversation that led to the altercation at that time. Also, we take a step back. When Candace says she has trouble accepting her apology because of the things that have been said on social media in the past, I feel like she has a point. However, this is what Ashley was talking about at the table. Keep in mind, I think Ashley in Portugal, when she was at the table and she brought all that stuff up, I think that was a bunch of BS. She just wasn't ready to let it go, and she's not going to let it go. And if that's the case, why yell at her for an apology? And even if when she apologized twice about this whole situation, everything is, yeah, but I still feel like all the things she said on social media. Girl, just say you don't like her. Just say you don't like her and stop. Let the girl go on her journey towards motherhood and do her thing. Like, you don't have to be involved. Just don't be involved. If you're having that much trouble deciding if you want to support her, then just don't be involved. So anyways, I said all that to say that this whole thing can be applied to Candace Candace's situation. So it's like, it's kind of, there's a lot of similarities. Ashley and Candace, they are one and the same. But I am glad that Candace finally took accountability for the things that she says. I don't think it is enough. I think that Andy is harping on Monique in a way that he also needs to be harping on Candace. And I don't think it's fair, honestly. So we talk more about Candace. Candace is questioning Karen's loyalty. He did take a poll from the ladies asking who thinks that Karen is more so Team Monique than Candace. And Ashley and Candace raised their hands, which is interesting because all the women on the show, I mean Wendy and Giselle and Robin were all harping on Karen about being one-sided, when now all of a sudden they think that she is Team Candace, or I don't know. Maybe I misunderstood that, but that didn't make any sense to me. Karen does say, plain as day, that Monique started the physical altercation. I do believe when we were back further in the show and they highlighted that part where Candace released the glass onto Monique, they were acting like this was some grand revelation, which it was not. Because once again, like I said, if somebody has my face down on the table and the only thing I have in my hand is a wine glass, of course I'm gonna take whatever's in my hand and start waving it towards where I think the person who's attacking me is at. Because I mean, if you've got your face down on the table and you can't protect yourself or defend yourself, I mean, what else? What are you gonna say? Oh, hold on, everybody, stop! I got glass in my hand. Let me sit that down. So that was BS with her trying to say, oh, she released the glass. Yeah, after she got her head pulled down. So come on, Karen. They also talk about when they figured out that Karen had Monique at the event, which I don't understand why that is a big deal, because they never saw each other. Had they seen each other, this would have been a whole different conversation. But Monique and Candace, well, Monique and the rest of the women never saw each other, so it never should have turned out to be a big deal. They're just mad that she's getting camera time, so they can get over it. Andy, with his shade, saying that Karen slithered out of the event after she was caught having invited both of the women, that was kind of funny. I think they made more of a big deal than they should have out of that situation. I think it was foolishness. So then this whole thing comes out about Karen contacting Candace's boss about what happened, and Candace is accusing Karen of trying to get her fired from the show because of something that she said. Now Karen is saying that Candace threatened her, which I don't like that verbiage, because telling somebody to go to hell is not a threat. But what is the point of harassing Karen? If you feel betrayed and you feel like, you know, there's more that should have been done in support of Candace, then you should have just said that and just left it at that. Let the ball be in her court. Like, why are you sending her messages about go to hell and all this stuff? Just, these women need a break from each other, like seriously. And then they got into the yelling match, and it was very cringy to listen to Karen yell and Candace yell. It was like a mother and daughter arguing. It was just, but you can, like Andy said, you can tell that they really do love each other and that they are both longing for that relationship to be healed, but they just don't know how. So Karen ends it by saying, I called your boss to get help for you, and I don't regret doing it. And I feel like when Karen has those quick, choppy, well, I did this and I don't regret doing it, when she gets into that mode, she's being defensive about something. I don't I'm not saying that she had the intent to fire Candace, or she had the intent to get Candace fired, but I'm saying that maybe there's some guilt on her part in that she felt like maybe I could have handled this better. Now the husbands join. Oh, Andy is greeting everyone before they start officially recording. And everybody's in good spirits except Chris Samuels. Chris Samuels does not have time for the small talk, the jibber jabber. He wants to get down to the meat and potatoes of why they are all there, which is the plot on his child. So he talks to Eddie, he asks Eddie how he's going, and you know, they just go over the few things that they discussed about him, you know, with his parents not being there and supporting them and their family, and you know, he just basically says he's working through it. He switches over to Ray. He talks to Ray, asks him how he's doing, and Ray talks about how he tried to keep his marriage private, but you know, they're on this show and there's only so much they can do. Andy asked what he thought about Karen saying that she wanted her money back, and basically he's just saying, look, she's been a housewife all these years. She's lived this cush lifestyle. She's had, you know, she's been at home. She's had money to spend. She's had credit cards, and he has paid for all of them. So for her to ask for her money back it kind of sounds like, to me, if I were Ray, it would sound like a slap in the face. Although, you know, we've heard some of his antiquated views of women and how they should be. But I do feel like even if it was me as a woman going out and supporting my family by myself, you know, for years and years, and later something happens, my spouse say, you know, I helped you when this happened and I want my money back. It's kind of a selfish way of thinking, so I understand where he was coming from. They switch over to Chris Bassett. Yes, Chris Bassett, and they talk about them having purchased their new home, and he is excited to have his own home, not Dorothy's home. Then he switches over to Chris Samuels, and they talk about the issues that they've had throughout the season and how hard the season has been on them, and you know, how they were able to blossom and grow, you know, after going through that on national television in front of all their friends and family. So, but Chris is ready. Chris is ready to talk. He wants to talk, and there's only one thing he wants to talk about. And next they end up on the topic of Chris and Monique's YouTube video, and Chris Samuels saying that he wants to slap the blankety blank out of all the women on the show. If he was a woman, that's what he would do. And he would stomp all of them, and Monique's with him, and yeah, that's what he used to do for a living, so I wouldn't try it. And Giselle's just like, she brought herself a bodyguard against Chris Samuels, and the bodyguard honestly doesn't look like he is up to the job, physically or mentally, because he's looking like, I'm just here for a check. Giselle is very bothered, and I think part of her being very bothered by Chris and Monique, because they're saying they feel threatened, and he's saying that if he was a woman, this is what he would do. He's not saying that's what he's actually going to do. Yes, he sounds hostile, but he's upset, and he's on a YouTube video. He's not saying this to her face. So I just feel like the reaction was, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm not in the situation. I don't know. But Giselle is just highly bothered. I think some of it is that she doesn't have Jamal with her. You know, she doesn't have somebody sitting behind her to help, you know, express her feelings and all that she's going through. She has no support. And I think that was why she had the bodyguard thing. I think if Jamal was there, she wouldn't have a bodyguard, but you know, Giselle, she ain't worried about protecting that image right now. She's just going off. So Giselle is giving all these explanations and reasons as to why this whole plot about the child not being Chris's, and she's basically saying that the Samuels brought it to the show. But I mean, honestly, with the footage that was shown, Giselle was the one who brought it to the show. Chris saying he looked like his daddy, doesn't he? That is not directly saying that there's a plot where there's a rumor where everyone is saying that Monique got a little too close with her trainer and slept with him and was possibly pregnant with his child and not Chris's. They're not saying that. All he did was ask, doesn't he look like his dad? And of course, Giselle being messy, yeah, he does. Why wouldn't he? Who would he look like? Like, she's clearly trying to bait him into an argument. And she's sitting up in their house doing all this. Like, Giselle. I mean, if anything, all the footage, in my opinion, brings things back around to Giselle and shows that Giselle is the one who wanted this to happen so bad, because she cannot stand Monique. I just really feel like Giselle had an out for this girl. And she says it was 2 years ago, but she was more than happy to bring it up. She was more than happy to bring it up. So Chris is just fussing and fighting, and I mean, they have a right to feel how they feel. If you ask me, the level of energy they are giving this indicates to me that maybe something did happen. I'm not saying that, you know, the baby is not his thing. I'm just saying maybe she had an emotional affair with this trainer. Maybe, you know, she got too close to him or something. She might not have physically been with the trainer, but, you know, anything could have happened. And I just feel like the level of energy that was given by the Samuels, like, they're trying to make it say, like, let's not involve children, which is right. Children are off limits. But it just, to me, it seems like there was something more there. They were upset about something, and I feel like they never even discussed if the rumors were true or not. She just said it was just a ridiculous rumor that she's not going to repeat because it was so nasty. Monique is a beautiful woman. Chris is with Monique. I think a large reason why she's with him is because of his money. Now, I'm sure they love each other. I have no doubt to that. But initially, I'm saying initially, because she even said they looked up his net worth. Like, I really feel like that is one of the things that got the ball rolling in their relationship. And then over time, she fell in love with him. But, you know, people make mistakes. And if that is the case, that's the case. But I just feel like they're really bothered over something that they perceive as false. Like, they just, like, I feel like they'll be like, I don't have time for this. These rumors are not true, and I'm not going to even indulge in this conversation with them. I feel like they could have shut a lot of stuff down by just saying that, and then brought that book and handled Giselle and went on about their business. But they are big mad. So at the end of the day, I blame Giselle for all this. So we finally move on to Robin and her little segment, because I'm like, he waited till this late to bring Robin in. Like, I forgot. Like, I was like, is he even gonna talk about Robin? There's not a lot to cover, but whatever. He asked the question again, will they ever get married? And he's like, yes, they're finally engaged. But I mean, it's been a year and some change. Ain't nothing happened. Robin says life is good, her taxes are handled, she is engaged to her ex-husband, they have broken ground on their new home, and you know what, I am actually happy for her. You know, as I'm not the biggest Robin fan. I feel like she's a beautiful woman, very masculine, but beautiful, you know. I'm happy that she's getting the house that she wants, or at least I hope it's the house she wants. I'm happy that her taxes are resolved. I'm happy that it seems like she and Juan will be getting back together. I'm just hoping that it all comes together. I feel like this is all part of a plot line and we're painting the picture rosy, but you know. Talk about her hat business. Her hat business is booming apparently. I still think the hats are very tacky, but I do like that she lined them with satin. And you know, they explain why that's important for Black women. Great. That doesn't take from the fact that they're tacky. I mean, I'm not gonna buy it just because it's lined with satin. Then they talk about the tax issues and how in the past Robin has expressed to Karen that she feels like, you know, how could you not know that you were having these tax issues? And the way Robin danced around the answer to that, she danced around basically her answer, and it all comes down to you passed judgment on her too quickly without trying to understand, and now you are in the same boat and you look stupid. But I mean, Robin always puts herself in a position to look stupid. I just feel like every time. And then Karen trying to act like she liked the hat, and then even though she threw it on the floor, I'm like, girl, you felt her ways and you're not a supporter. Just get over it. And Robin says, oh, well, I felt like she really didn't want to be there. And just stop, just stop. Why are we even having this conversation? Karen wasn't in the picture, or Karen wasn't on the website. You left her off because, you know, that was a way for you to create and stir up some conflict in the show so you can have some versatility and get some more camera time. And she paid you dust. So leave it alone, let it be. And her with the, I hate that Karen even said, you know, oh, I actually like the hat. Don't even give her that. Don't give her that, because you're giving her a moment. She doesn't give that many. Maybe you're trying to be generous, but I don't know. Anyways, she says that hat was her lowest selling hat. It almost makes me want to go buy that hat, but. So they get to the part where they're discussing Michael's response to Juan possibly proposing. And she said she called Juan, and Juan said he didn't know anything about it, which I doubt is true. I feel like they could have had like a conversation where he said, you know, all the things that we've been through, you know, I go back and forth with, you know, I can see a man saying something like that, like, oh, well, you know, we've been through a lot, and you know, I'm trying to decide, you know, if this is the path I want to take. However, I feel like Michael played up the situation to make it seem like he knew all this information, and he didn't, and you can tell he didn't. He didn't know anything. So Robin and Chris Samuels end up getting into it, and the whole I'm so glad Juan Dixon is not here right now is just, I mean, honestly, that can be how she goes out, because what did that even have to do with anything Chris Samuels was talking about? Like, I feel like she just didn't want Chris to have a moment in the midst of her situation. And she didn't want Chris to have a moment in the midst of her spotlight time. But she was just, I'm so glad Juan Dixon isn't here right now. I'm so glad. And then what killed me is the mouth movements when she felt like she wasn't getting her point across and that she was going to talk over him. So she did this whole, I am so glad. Girl, stop. You have to like go back and look at that. She was like, I am so, girl. So they discussed the altercation at their holiday party. And you know, at the time that this was happening, she was paying the whole situation dust. She already said, like, I don't even want to deal with this right now. And she ended up, you know, having more drinks and getting on the dance floor, dropping it. Like, she was lit. They didn't discuss this as in depth as they should have, because clearly Michael put his hand on, like, okay, if somebody is coming at you, and first of all, I think it was disrespectful for him to say, you need to control your wife. I think that's what Chris Bassett was talking about when he said, you know, Michael's not gonna come and disrespect, Michael's not gonna say anything to disrespect my wife. And I feel like Ashley was really bothered by that, because Michael has disrespected Ashley before, to her face, on camera, off camera, all of the above. And you know, I just feel like she wishes she had somebody that respected her more, but she's not going to say that. And, you know, Chris Bassett gave him a warning saying, you know, you should get out of my face, with a few expletives sprinkled in there. And Michael put his hand on his shoulder and said, shut the F up and listen to what I'm saying to you. You don't say that to somebody that has already told you to get out of their face. So I can understand why he turned around the way he did and pushed him back. And he was literally pushing him back to get away from him and asking him, like, what did you say to me? I don't believe that anything he did. Now, if he would have turned around and shoved him across the room and had him laying on the floor standing over him saying, what did you just say, or something like that. Like, I can see him saying, what, are you touching me? Did you just push me? I can see that, but that's not what happened, okay? You initiated it. You touched him twice. The first time when he said, you should control your wife, and the second time when you said, shut the F up and listen. So he had every right to turn around and say, what did you just say to me? Every right. Respect Chris Bassett for what he did and how he, you know, he also called and apologized to Robin for disrupting their event with all that was going on. So, I mean, I feel like that was the very adult thing to do. I think Chris has more sense than a lot of these people. Chris Bassett, that is, has more sense than a lot of these people on the show, I think. But, you know, I could be wrong. He might show his butt next season, who knows? Ashley tried to defend Michael and his actions, but I mean, she tried to defend him, but basically she didn't give any reason or rhyme to why he acted the way he acted. And I think she was embarrassed enough in the moment that it did happen, and she really didn't have any words. Like, she didn't have anything to say, really. She got shut down basically by everybody else. Like, he acted a fool, and I'm here for the money. That's all she had to say. Expresses that he is happy for Robin and Juan, and that he's excited for their upcoming nuptials. And he says, make sure you give us a date because I want to renew. Karen and I are going to renew our vows. And, you know, this catches Karen off guard, and she's crying. And, you know, I think Karen can be a lot sometimes when she starts all that crying, but it seems like this season she really was highly emotional, and you can tell that she was elated that they would be having a 25th wedding anniversary vow renewal ceremony. So I'm happy for her, because Ray was kind of giving her the cold shoulder this season, but I'm happy. I feel like in the heat of all the emotion with Ray and Karen, then Chris decides that something should be said about how well Monique handled herself this season with all the lies and accusations being spread about his wife. And he is like crying and hugging her and saying how much he loves her and appreciates her. And I mean, it's sweet. I just feel like Chris has been so, like, I feel like he's hurt about something and we're not knowing what it is. Yes, he's hurt because these so-called people in these shows are saying things about them, but these people are not friends. I really don't believe these people are friends. I believe they are here to be on a show and to make money, and I feel like that's it. So the whole, well, these are supposed to be your friends and they're spreading these lies about you. No, they're co-workers and their job is to create drama and foolishness. So do I feel like that was a genuine moment? Possibly, but nobody knows that but Chris and Monique. So Chris says that he forgives all of them, and he especially forgives Giselle because hurt people. And I do believe Giselle is hurt. I believe she's deeply hurt. Something is really wrong with that woman, because she is one of those people that's just, and Candace even said, I love Giselle, but we know she's messy, and we know she gets a bone, she's gonna take it and she's gonna break it up into a million pieces and scatter it everywhere as far as she can go and create as much drama and confusion as possible. So he's got a point. Hurt people do hurt people, and Giselle is one of those hurt people. She wants everybody to be miserable just like her. So conclusions. Wendy said she has learned a lot about herself and how she can come off as aggressive. sure. I think she did need to take a slight note about humility this season, because there's still not much else that we know about Wendy besides the issues with her in-laws and her degrees. So yes, be proud of your accomplishments. Everybody wants to be for her, I'm sure. But there is a lesson in this, in humility and understanding that you can't put everyone else down because you feel like you are superior to everyone else because of this education that you have. Robin says life is all good. We'll see next season, girl. Ashley says, you know, it's been a heavy season. A lot has transpired, but she is happier than ever. And I have talked about this in previous reviews, that, you know, no matter what happens with her, she is gonna say, you know what, all this happened, but we are better than ever. When they switch over to Giselle, she piggybacks off of Ashley's foolishness and just says, you know, I don't care what anybody has to say about my life. Nobody lives my life but me. Nobody knows my life but me, and I'm happy. Me and Jamal are good. I'm like, okay, girl. Monique claims that she has grown from the situation. I don't see how she has grown, besides the fact that, oh, you know, these things happened in childhood and this is the way I acted. She very much so reacted the same way Candace does, by getting on Twitter and running her mouth. Candace says that despite everything that happened, she feels that this platform is a sisterhood and she appreciates what she receives in this platform. I just really think all these women need to go to therapy, Lord. I really do. Andy says he's excited for Karen and renewing her vows, and he says that is usually a kiss of death. And she doesn't want to hear it. She's just happy that she is in this place with her husband and that they're in a better place, and let her be happy. And they exit with the slither into season 6. Reason for all this foolishness. And if anybody should have been fired, I think Giselle. Giselle should have been let go. And I also think she should have got a Phaedra situation. And I also think that, you know, it would have been cool to see Robin try to make it on her own without her parent. Monique received a contract for season 6, to which she declined. And you know what? I think she does need a break. I think she needs, I mean, hopefully it'll be like a temporary break, because I don't want this to be the end of Monique. And I didn't want this to be the end of Candace. I feel like those two were the ones that I had the most fun with. I think when they were like really good friends, like they were fun to watch. The rest of the women are just, it's unfortunate. Just everything is unfortunate on how everything ended. I just feel like people were giving other people energy that they didn't need to. It was misdirected. So that wraps up my review for season 5, Real Housewives of Potomac, part 3 of their reunion. Leave me a comment. Let me know how you feel. I mean, I'm very open to other people's opinions, so just let me know how you feel. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Please hit the like button. You guys have been really showing up and showing out for me, so I really appreciate it. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.